Some of the other things that are going to be happening in geophysical issues are jet streams are seemingly going to go wild to weather forecasters and cause major weather shifts around the world. There'll be drought in some areas.
Everybody was fine. There's enough water for the farms, there's enough water for the homes. The farmers, they weren't using their own wells because they were getting water allocated to them through the canals to the state. But since the drought, all that water is, it's not available to them anymore. So now they're starting to use their own wells. And it seems like when they do that, now the houses around them are starting to go dry.
Chris is a water hauler, hired to truck in portable water to hundreds in the San Joaquin Valley.
There will be a hurricane that ends up striking this nation with winds of over 180 miles an hour and storm surges that flood miles inland. There will be a hurricane, at least one hurricane, with a storm diameter of around 500 miles. There will be an epidemic that will take many lives, and it will not just be here in the United States, but it will also be here and elsewhere. It might actually begin elsewhere and come in here.
Well, the coronavirus pandemic has now claimed 5 million lives. Nearly 2 years after the first outbreak in the Chinese city of Wuhan, COVID-19 remains a leading cause of death around the world.
Russia is going to try to enhance this escalation of tensions by creating an oil crisis. They're going to end up taking or try to take control of the Ukraine, and they will continue to arm Iran with weapons to further ignite an oil crisis because conflict is the goal. And with conflict in the Middle East, oil prices will escalate. And Russia needs the oil price to escalate in order to meet their financial obligations and to rebuild the infrastructure that they are currently trying to rebuild. There's a new Mother Russia type of mentality that is going on to recreate the former Soviet Union. It may not be called the Soviet Union again. I don't know. But I do know this, that Russia is raising its head again, and an old monster is coming out of hibernation. I saw malls that were more than half empty and stores that were closed, strip malls and other type of malls. With this, nobody's leasing the buildings, and so, or very few are leasing the buildings, and so there's no lease payment that the owner needs in order to cover the debt service on that building. Some have asked, we had a financial planner the other day ask me, will there be stagflation or deflation or inflation or hyperinflation? And I had to look at him and tell them it's going to be all of these. As economic difficulties cause mobs to roam the streets and a Robinhood mentality begins to escalate, in other words, taking from the rich in order to give to the poor.
Tried to run away, but they followed her in the silver Dodge Charger, even as she is begging passing cars for help. The suspect then hit her with their car. She fell to the ground. They got out of the car with guns pointed at her. You can see a good Samaritan there in the white sweatshirt trying to help. The victim very smartly throws her Rolex onto the street. One of the suspects grabs it and they speed off.
There will be many more reports of new political corruption that is going to be uncovered at very high levels. Rural land will become very valuable as people leave the city to seek the security of an urban lifestyle. House churches will begin to grow in number as a need for intimacy increases. Hidden sexual perversion in church leadership will be exposed. And I'm not talking about in the Catholic Church. I'm talking about elsewhere. And the numbers will be shocking to many of those remaining in the church.